afternoon, brother.
Good afternoon.
Okay, we're going to start in on 2 Corinthians 5:1 for our reading. I just want to go to 2 Corinthians 4:18 because it ties in. Okay, and the focus is to come out of this temporary world into the kingdom. Okay, the kingdom of God. Okay, so 2 Corinthians 4:18. While we consider not the things that are seen, none of this stuff, but the things that are not seen. Okay, that's the heavenly. For the things that are seen are temporary. This is all going to go. But the things that are not seen are eternal, everlasting. This is what our eyes should be on the goal. Okay? So let's start. 2 Corinthians 5:1. For we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle is destroyed, we have a building from God, a house not made with human hands, eternal in the heavens. This sounds like the same type of thinking that our father Abraham. And he was the father of the faithful. Faith is the things you don't see. You know, this is all the stuff. He was on the earth too, but he was a soldier, and he was. It was like he temporary dwelling, waiting for that kingdom. So anyway, Hebrews 11:10. We'll start there, and now go also to Hebrews 11:16. We'll jump to that one. Okay, Hebrews 11:10. For he, that is Abraham, was waiting for the city with the foundations of God, which is the architect and builder. And then verse 16, but now on the other hand, they are aspiring to a more excellent country, talking about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, that is a heavenly one. That's the one that never, it's ongoing, eternal, and this is all going to go. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, because he has prepared a city for them. See, God is on, he's sure thinking about us, and all we have to do is put our minds on the kingdom. And he's preparing already for us, so he's pretty sure we're going to be doing our part and thinking about that heavenly kingdom. So we got to make sure that is that on our minds each and every day. We have a job to do here too. Okay, 2 Corinthians 5:2. For in this we truly are groaning, longing to be clothed with our dwelling from heaven. I go to Romans 8:23 now to bring this together. Romans 8:23. And not only that, but even we ourselves who have the first fruits of the Spirit also groan within ourselves, awaiting the sonship, the redemption of our bodies. You notice this first fruits. It's like, this is the first time this has ever really been done, yes? Christ was the forerunner, but this is all new to all of us. But we want to do this with complete faith, because God can always bring about what he starts in us. So, verse 3, 2 Corinthians 5:3. If indeed that being clothed we may not be found naked, okay? And what we know, we're supposed to put on the righteousness of Jesus Christ. That's our clothing. And I will go there because it just fits so good. And we know some of these verses, but this is why we're here. We go over these. So Revelations 19:7 and verse 8 we'll read. And his wife made herself ready. See, She has to put on those white garments. She puts on Christ's righteousness. We each have a job to do. Okay, verse 8. And it was granted to her that she should be clothed in fine linen, pure and bright. For the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints, and our righteousness is of Christ. Okay? Okay, we want to make sure that we're not found naked. We need to have the righteousness of God. Okay, let's continue. Verse 4. Going back to 2 Corinthians 5:4. For we who are in this tabernacle, we're talking about our bodies here now, truly do groan. This is our we're the one who's grown, and not our houses, you know. Okay, being burdened, not that we wish to be unclothed, but to be clothed upon, so that the mortal flesh may be swallowed up by life. Now, to me, that was a little. I wasn't satisfied with reading that, so I brought in 1 Corinthians 15:54, and I think this helps make that one more clear. Okay, 1 Corinthians 15:54. Now, when this corruptible shall have put on incorruptibility, okay, talking about us again, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall come to pass the saying that written, death is swallowed up in victory. Where this, the 2 Corinthians 5:4 says, flesh may be swallowed up by life. So this one, death is swallowed up by victory. I did like the two coming together. It helps me to understand it quite a bit more. Okay, verse 5, 2 Corinthians 5:5. Now, he who is working out this very thing for us is God, who has also given us the earnest of the Spirit. You know, the earnest is that thing we first get. You know, you say earnest of the Spirit. God lets us. He doesn't ever like to be put in a box, but he lets us say his love. And how many times he said, go back to your first love. He says that to everyone if they fall short. Okay? And here's the earnest of the Spirit. Okay? We want to make sure we all take that little down payment and we make it grow, because we're going to see constantly as we keep looking from the Old Testament to the New, that God starts small and he gives us a little earnest, and then we are supposed to make it grow. So let's make sure we take that first love he gives us. He gives everybody that, because when we fall short, he tells some of them to go back to your first love. He warns them. You need to go back to your first love. But you know, when we have this earnest, and if we do make it grow, and we start getting tips like we put our treasures in heaven, all of our heart's desires, we're like Abraham, this is where I want to be. And then our hearts go there. And then he wouldn't even say to us, go back to your first love. He'd say, go back to your second mature love. You might have missed that one. But most people are not even growing in that earnest. So be careful. We have the information now, and this opens the door where it makes God's or Christ's yoke easy once we start understanding this, where our heart says, that's what we want to do anyway. So he's giving us tips here. Okay, 2 Corinthians 5:6. Let's continue. Therefore, we are always confident, knowing that while we are at home in this body, and we're here on planet Earth, okay, we are away from our eternal home. That's the one we're looking to, like Abraham. That's the one, okay, which is coming from the eternal. Okay, but we have a job to do. So I want to go to 1 John 3:3. 1 John 3:3. And this is one of our main jobs. Yes, we're called to like give out the gospel. It's a good news to everyone to start getting ready. And that was one of our jobs. But it get ourselves ready for the bride, to be the bride. Okay, 1 John 3:3. Let's read it. And everyone who has this hope, that's the hope we've been talking about, purifies himself, even as he is pure. And that could be Christ, or it could be the Father. They could pick. But there are examples. So we want to work on this just as they have this character set. We want to work and present ourselves as living sacrifices. Okay, let's go back to 2 Corinthians 5:7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. And that's the trap of the world. The world sees everything here. But if you walk by faith, this does not get in the way. This does not trap you. You know, you can win the whole earth, and they would say, you fools. It's going to be over soon. You know? So we want to walk by faith. And we just have to, all these are tips of a loving God given to each of us so we won't fail. But we got to listen to these tips. You know, and pay attention. They're not these little sayings that kind of get us. No. These are things that will see us to the eternal, everlasting gift that God has from the beginning, before the earth was formed, wanted to give each of us. He wanted to give this to each of us. So we don't want to mess this up. Okay. Now, we have to have the same attitude as Apostle Paul here. Now, Apostle Paul is writing this, and so 2 Corinthians 5:8, he says, we are confident and we are willing to be away from this home, that's the flesh, that is out of this body, and instead to be at home with the eternal. Well, of course he would. Okay? Now, verse 9, he continues, because of this, we are also laboring so that whether present or absent, we may be well-pleasing to him. And so, Paul's giving us a tip. It doesn't matter if he's here or not. Paul is just showing us the way Christ showed him to show us the way. So now it's our turn, and we're not to let down the ball, so to speak. Okay? Do you see it, brethren? Do you see it? We need to be laboring also. We are God's ambassadors. And this is one of the chapters I love because it doesn't hide that fact. We have other jobs. As ambassadors, we're first called from a kingdom that is somewhere else, and then we're given the job to be lights to others. They don't have a clue about this, but we do. We get to be the lights that go out, and we will be ambassadors to others. And it always starts small. We never have to say, "Oh, I just do such little things." You know, that's good. You start small. God builds it up to be for glory to Himself. That's how He wants it to be. It's a wonderful relationship. Okay. In fact, that's just how John the Baptist is. He did a work, and then when it came time to decrease, he let Christ increase. He did perfect, and he was noted for being one of the shiniest examples of a human being to do a job for God. You know, and we can follow. We can get that. We don't have to be confused. I want to John the Baptist. I want to be like him. He did a job. He did it faithfully. Okay. 2 Peter 1:17. Because he received glory and honor from God the Father when the voice came to him from the majestic glory. Now this, brother, just because we know this was said of his son, and of course, I know this was so pleasing to the Father to see that this Son of his is something else. That's our Savior, who he says. Well, let's just read it. This is my Son, the beloved, in whom I am well pleased. But don't stop there. This is Christ's example. This is what we want to hear also. Didn't you read the part that says, as we enter, well done, good and faithful servant? It's just a little different wording. This is the words we want to hear. There's none better. Wow, this is exciting. Okay. 2 Corinthians 5:10. Let's go back to the reading. 2 Corinthians 5:10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive according to the things done in his body, that he has practiced, whether good or evil. Now, this is not actually a hit and miss. Christ is guiding us. You know, he's guiding us. We don't want to go, oh, it was evil. No, he's showing it's the good way. And we have a job to do. We follow Christ, and he's faithful, and we don't have to worry. But we have to follow in his footsteps. Let's go to Luke 9:23 to help us understand. Luke 9:23. Then he said to all, if anyone, remember, he said it to all of us, so there's none left out. If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself. Like everybody in the world is pretty concerned about themselves. You got, and now our top priority is maybe to be an ambassador, to put on those garments. There's many jobs we have. Every day we have many opportunities. And he said, let him deny himself and let him take up his cross daily. Why? Because we saw the example that Christ came and took up a cross. Okay, and let him follow me. So he's our example. And then Matthew 11:28-30 helps us to also understand if we do it, we have help. He doesn't just tell us to do it and then back out. Okay, Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all you who labor and are overly burdened, and I will give you rest. That's each of us. 29. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. Okay, so we learn from Christ. We put on Christ. For I am meek and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. So, wow, that's nice as we're doing this calling. And now he shows in 30. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Okay, so we're talking about a yoke here. There's examples. And remember, always the Old Testament examples for the New, so we can really get this. Okay, so we need to keep it real because, you know, even this yoke, if you don't want to keep it real, you won't get it. Okay, Deuteronomy 22:10. It sets the stage to show that we have a faithful Christ that's going to help us with gentleness. Remember, he's meek and lowly. His burden's easy. Okay, so Deuteronomy 22:10. You should not plow with an ox and a little donkey. You think that poor little donkey? How is he going to keep up with? But you saw how Christ guarantees us, look, I'm going to be gentle and I'm going to be meek. Let's hook up together. We do this. It's all. There's no one can claim that they did this on their own. None of us. We did this with Christ. Okay? Okay, here's another example, because I said we got to keep this yoke business real. And we got an example. 2 Corinthians 6:14. And that's where 5 is leading. 5 is going right into the next reading, so 6. Okay. 2 Corinthians 6:14. do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. See, we can't mess this up. We're both to stay yoked with Christ. Like, you say, oh, come on, we don't have to. No, we do. I think every one of us can mess up, and then we have to, it's like we take a couple of steps back, but the righteous man gets up, and there he goes, move forward again. So we have so many Old Testament helps that should always keep us faithful and never to give up. Okay, let's go back to our reading. 2 Corinthians 5:11. So, then because we know the fear of the eternal, we are persuading men. But we are fully known to God, and I hope are also fully known in your consciences. Okay, we know, I want to bring this up because we're coming to a verse that we can learn how to think like Bereans. And I don't care what type of experts, I guess you call them in the scriptures or anything. This is where we're going to have a jump over all experts. They don't need to phase us or shake us. And yet, some experts bring them on because they want to help us. So don't shut them out either. But, we have Greek dictionaries when it comes to the New Testament. We have the Hebrew for the Old. And so the reason I wanted to bring this up, you can have a word that pops up. You look at it and go, well, yeah, it says that word. But wait, these other words are far more fitting. Why did they use that one? Then you look at other scriptures and you see the other scriptures won't even allow that other one. So here we go. I'm going to just read this to start it off. Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty, or you could even say, or boastful spirit before a fall. Now let's continue. 2 Corinthians 5:12. For we are not commending ourselves again to you, that's Apostle Paul speaking, but are giving you an occasion to, and now it actually, it's a word which could be boast. But wait a minute. We just read, what would it, that's before the fall. Anyone that rises up or is boastful or proud, then there's a fall. So then we look in the Greek, and it gives the option of glory or rejoice. And either one of them fits really nicely here. So you take the boast and you go glory or rejoice on our behalf, so that you may have something to answer to those themselves are rejoicing in physical appearance and not in the heart. So they rejoice in physical appearance. Now we're supposed to rejoice in the heart. Okay? So we can learn here. Verse 13. But if we are jubilant, it is to God. Or if we are sober-minded, it is for you. 14. For the love of Christ compels us, because we have thus concluded that if one died for all, then all died. And he died for all, Christ, so that those who live should no longer live to themselves, but to him who died for them and was raised again. Remember, we take on the cross of Christ. We're following his footsteps. This is he did all this for example, so we could come and be forgiven of our sins. It was a whole process, and it was all thought out. There's other readings that will cover that. Okay, Romans 5:12. Therefore, Romans 5:12. Therefore, by one man sin entered into the world, and by means of sin came death. Okay, now I'm just going to insert Ezekiel 18:20 because we all know this one. The soul that sins, it will die. That's how it used to be, and it was and it still would be, but there's, okay, but let's continue, Romans 5:12. And in this way, death passed unto all mankind. And I'll insert Romans 6:23, for the wages of sin is death. That's what all men earned. Okay, but we'll keep reading Romans 5:12. And it is for this reason that all have sinned. Okay, so this helps us understand the process. Okay, go back to 2 Corinthians 5:16. So then, from this time forward, we know no man according to the flesh, but even if we have known Christ in the flesh, they don't look at Christ in the flesh anymore. They see him as risen. Okay, yet now we no longer know him accordingly. See, we see a risen Christ. Therefore, verse 17, therefore, if anyone be in Christ, he is a new creation. The old things have passed away before all things have become new. Behold, all things have become new. Verse 18. And all things are from God, who has reconciled us to himself through Jesus Christ, and has given to us the ministry of reconciliation. Okay, right there, if you think about it, oh, you're giving us a ministry of, it's the good news to the world. Let's continue reading. Verse 19, which is that God was in Christ reconciling to the world to himself, not imputing their trespasses to them, and he has entrusted to us this message of reconciliation. Okay, so if we read Luke 24:47, Luke 24:27, we'll see what this really focuses on. And in his name, repentance and remissions of sin should be preached to all nations, beginning at Jerusalem. It's just a wonderful thing. That's what they call it, the good news. It's for all man. The time is ready. That kingdom that lasts forever is ready. It's at hand. No one should miss out on it. It's not just a warning. It's good news. Any of you people that were never called, ever heard such a thing, it's good news. It's just wonderful. Okay, let's continue. 2 Corinthians 5:20. Therefore, we are ambassadors for Christ, not someone else. And God, as it were, is exhorting you through us. We beseech you on behalf of Christ, be reconciled to God. We have a job to do. Verse 21, wrapping it up here. For he made him who knew no sin to be sin for us, so that we might become the righteousness of God in him. Okay, I'm just going to finish it with just a couple other scriptures. Hebrews 4:15, for we do not. Hebrews 4:15. Let you catch up here. I forget you flipped. No, I just got it right here on a computer here. Okay, Hebrews 4:15. For we do not have a high priest who cannot be empathized with our weaknesses, but one who was tempted in all things according to the likeness of our own temptations, yet he was without sin. So he was the first one that could do it. We had no shot at this. Remember all the scriptures we just read? So the wages of sin is death. That's your wage. That's what you guys all did. It's amazing. I'm so. They thought this out way before they ever even created this physical earth, and it's going to go. It's only meant for this reason, to bring us into for that life forevermore, that good news gospel message. Okay, Galatians 2:20. I'll just finish up with that. We'll finish up here. Galatians 2:20. I have been crucified with Christ. Remember, we take up his cross. Remember? Now we're getting back to that thought. Yet I live. Indeed, it is no longer I, but Christ lives in me. Remember, we're supposed to let Christ live in us. Here it's saying it so plain. For the life that I am now living in the flesh, yeah, we're here, right here where all this is going to go. I live by faith. So I'm looking this way. That's why my heart is in the kingdom. But if I live in the flesh and don't have Christ in me, then it's all gonna perish, and I'll be with it. Okay, I live by faith, that very faith of the Son of God who loved me and gave Himself for me. What a gift! What a message!